In less than 12 months, Ireland has witnessed hundreds of anti-immigrant demonstrations, acts of domestic terrorism directed against asylum seekers and elected members of government, gangs of violent racist thugs marauding the capital, intimidating and assaulting non-nationals, a massive spike in hate crimes resulting in at least 2 murders, a full-blown race riot in Dublin, and now the election of 5 openly far-right activists to public office. We now find ourselves, in spite of the reticence of the mainstream media, forced to accept that organised racism and proto-fascism are now a feature of the Irish political landscape. This is not alarmist. If anything, this has become a reality because too few of us were alarmed enough when we first saw these dangerous tendencies emerging from the fringes of the anti-austerity movement over the past decade and a half. Very few were paying attention to the rhetoric of groups like Dublin Says No 15 years ago. The appearance of an Irish Yellow Vest movement was met with derision and mocking laughter, and the arrival of the German ultra-nationalist group Pegida in 2016 barely raised an eyebrow. At the time, in its coverage of the planned Islamophobic rally hosted by Irish nationalists who would eventually establish the neo-Nazi National Party later that year, the Irish Independent's Rachel Lavin painted a picture of these far-right agitators as the victims of a leftist mob. Quote, "Violent clashes broke out in Dublin city centre yesterday, where an estimated 1,000 demonstrators turned out on O'Connell Street to protest the launch of the anti-Islam group Pegida in Ireland. Gardaí intervened as a number of people thought to be linked to the group were singled out and attacked by a number of men." So acceptable had Western anti-Muslim prejudice become by 2016 that to describe Pegida in such pedestrian terms as an anti-Islam group had become the most natural thing in the world for media outlets like The Independent. Journalists' own prejudices and the powerful narrative of Islam as a threat blinded the commentariat to the extreme danger posed by a rising tide of far-right racism across Europe. But the danger was there. Thanks to social media, the extreme ultra-nationalism exploding in France, Italy, Germany and over Eastern Europe in Poland, Ukraine and Hungary, which fed Britain's xenophobic Brexit campaign and brought Donald Trump to the White House, was happening here. Only few here were paying attention. Just look at how the Irish media downplayed the obvious Nazism on display in the Ukrainian armed forces. In the face of overwhelming evidence, Russia's declared objective of denazification was treated as entirely bogus. Yet by giving a free pass to Nazism in Ukraine, Western Europe, Ireland included, gave a free pass to ultranationalism and neo-Nazism here. Putin may well have been the aggressor, but he was not wrong about the Nazi problem. Making extreme far-right politics a valid expression of Ukrainian resistance, as a friend of Europe and the United States, the collective West legitimised and emboldened the far right everywhere. The Roman fascist salute, the symbols of German National Socialism and the emblems of the SS were rehabilitated as totems of national pride. And this was being absorbed by Ireland's already growing native far right. Ireland is in the midst of an economic and a host of social crises, and so there is no shortage of desperate people willing to listen to the far right's simple explanations for their often dire situations. Mimicking the tactics of the right abroad, Irish far-right activists have used wedge issues as a means of broader regressive assaults. The use of the campaign against transgender rights as a means of attacking all LGBTQ rights, and anti-immigration as a staging ground for a wider racist offensive. Take the recent nasty intimidation of asylum seekers in Newtown Mount Kennedy, County Wicklow, for example. Very quickly, this campaign morphed into a campaign of threats against LGBTQ kids, hoping to host a disco during Pride. Owing to these threats, the organisers have had to postpone the event indefinitely. Our open society is being bullied and harassed into doing exactly what the far right wants. Newly elected local councillor Tom McDonnell, a man who believes a cabal of Khazarian Jews are running the world, has gone on radio to say Irish women have to breed more. Yes, he did say breed, apparently because the most popular baby name for boys in Galway was Mohammed. His views on the breeding of Aryan women are of course related to his subscription to the anti-Jewish racist Khazarian hypothesis. This is the so-called Great Replacement conspiracy theory, that a secret network of Jews are plotting world domination by flooding the West with black and brown migrants in an attempt to replace the white race and ignite a race war. This may sound outlandish to literate people, but this is happening. This is real to them. Almost immediately after his election to Kildare County Council, a video was leaked of him speaking with his supporters as they discussed the use of street justice against migrants in Kildare, and we have already witnessed this street justice in action in Dublin, with the vicious and organised assault of a number of vulnerable asylum seekers and other immigrants. Following the passing of the EU Migrant Pact Bill in the Irish Parliament yesterday, far-right activists began describing our elected representatives as traitors, and the Taoiseach's family home received a hoax bomb threat. Another newly elected far-right councillor, Gavin Pepper, thanked all of those who were out campaigning against immigration into Ireland in an interview where he went on to say how he was standing up for the working class and that the far right was the real opposition and the real change.
I want to thank all the people in Finglas and Ballymun, all the people across the country who've been on the marches sticking up we're against illegal immigration in Ireland. I want to fight things in the community and make it better. I want a boxing club, things that the community's been promised for years, being ignored. People on the housing list not being housed, elderly people. It's just ridiculous what's going on there. There's nothing for the kids to do. We need more community services in Finglas and Ballymun. They've been totally neglected. The roads are in bits. There's no summer camps anymore. These things need to be changed, and the government have been ignoring them, and the establishment have been ignoring them. And when people like me were speaking up against it, they used words and called us far right or fascist or stupid words that don't sum up a working class family man like me and most of the people that are out on this. Today is amazing, and I feel amazing. I'm delighted with me family, I'm delighted with the country, and it's not just about me, it's about my country, and it's about everybody in the country that's standing up for what's right at the moment, and that's what it's about. It's not a popularity contest. The government and the opposition in this style don't represent, that's an example. See, they walk past, they make hissing sounds at people all day. That sums these people up. They don't represent the working class, don't care about communities. It's only about money for them. The government and the opposition, there is no opposition in the all. They agree on everything. We're the real opposition. We're the real change.
When people like Pepper talk about the working class, when they talk about the people or the country, they are talking about white people. They do not count black and brown immigrants, most of whom are hard-working and contribute to this country. They don't count them as part of this nation. Gavin Pepper claims to represent working people and the working class, yet he is a landlord who makes his money by charging these working people exploitative so-called market rent rates. He is also suspected by the Gardaí, the police here in Ireland, of involvement in the Sandwich Street immigrant encampment arson attack. He denies involvement, but things he dislikes have an uncanny tendency to catch fire. Our democracy and our professional, centrist political class are simply not equipped to deal with the coming far-right storm. And trust me, this storm is coming. Very soon, we are going to have to step up and get out and on the barricades. Fascism has become fashionable again, and so once again the left will have to sort its shit out and get organised. and get resisting. This fight is already upon us.